that kind of hustle, I respect. Otherwise, you're going to get the stank face from me because you're in the wrong seats.
I'm with you.
Oh, man. Look, okay. So where you want to go? You want to go to Super Bowl or you want to count today?
Oh, we're going to count today. We're going to count today.
Do you want to ask a question? You want me to ask the question? I'll ask the question. I don't have a problem with it.
How many is 35 really?
A lot.
Yeah,
and a little. And a little. And a little. But it's a lot.
Oh no, yeah, 35 is a lot.
Okay, so tell the people the reference before we get into this.
So Uncle Shannon, Uncle ShayShay,
Uncle ShayShay.
Big Unc. He had Brittany Renner on his podcast, Club ShayShay, this past episode. And it was already interesting because it was like Brittany Renner. Like,
content, baby. Gotta have content.
I get it. But it seems off and I know he's interviewed a wide range of people, but Brittany Renner really seemed far left. And not that she's not a celebrity or whatnot. And if nobody knows who Brittany Renner is, she's the female that had a baby with PJ Washington of the Charlotte Hornets. And the issue is she's like, 8-9 years older than him. She's like in, about to be 30 and he had just gotten the league and like pretty much cradle rock.
Wait a minute. That Brittany?
Yeah, that Brittany Renner.
Okay, so my Brittany Renner reference is a post that says, it looks like a big body Benz until a big body Benz actually rolls past. And it was a photo of Brittany Renner by herself, and then a photo of Brittany Renner with standing next to Meg Thee Stallion. Completely. Gotcha. It's like looking at a Chrysler 300 and go, oh, it looks like a Phantom, until an actual Phantom rolls by and you go, it doesn't look like a Phantom, right?
Not at all. Yeah,
but that's my base reference for who she is. So you talking about she having a baby with PJ Washington. I remember hearing a reference, but it didn't click.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
wow.
So she's considerably older than him. Not that that's a problem. Like once you're outside of 21, I don't know exactly when they met.
Number, baby.
Exactly. I don't remember exactly when they met or what the age was, but that's really besides the point. But a lot of people felt like she took advantage of PJ Washington. Had a baby with him, of course. So now he's part of the system of possibly having to pay child support, blah, blah. But he's also an NBA player, so I don't necessarily have that much sympathy for him because he has that money. So
didn't he just get signed to Washington?
I think.
Was it him?
Let's see. PJ Washington. That'd be interesting. No, he's still with the Hornets.
We'll circle back. We'll circle back to that because that's the James Harden conversation. At any rate.
Yeah.
But she had a baby with PJ Washington. Okay.
Yep, had a baby with PJ Washington. They're not together anymore. Some rift happened between her and PJ, and he's got another woman now, and she says she's cool with him. But then the big part, the one that made Shannon go, was when she said, I've got 35 bodies on me.
Okay, so to be clear, apparently he did not ask how many bodies she had on her.
Unprovoked.
It was an unprovoked confession, right? Talking point that she offered up. I would imagine probably for some kind of content value, right?
I think the whole thing felt like that.
Content, man.
Whole thing. I mean, no, not even for him, for her.
Well, okay, so I'm not knocking anybody's hustle.
No.
Not in the podcast game. I get it. Not in the social media game. I get it. But as we said before, as we talked about before, when your public profile is about likes and not about authentic content, right? You got to do stuff to keep people's eyes and ears and attention on you, which means that you got to say stuff you got to be continuously and increasingly shocking, right?
Mm-hmm.
And if all of her profile and her money, which is tied to her profile, is social media driven, then you got to do stuff to keep people engaged, keep people eyes on you, keep your name in the social zeitgeist. So I get it.
Sure.
I get it.
But yeah, I mean, so let's take it there. 35. How many men, or honestly, both ways, how many people is too much for you to really consider like this person as being more than just a boyfriend or girlfriend, or, is it something that's really thought about? Do people not care? Like, is it something that you can work to, move past just because maybe their looks or something that they're doing, or they got money? I mean, okay, the money.
Okay. Well, here's the question. Which generation are you asking that question to? That's the question. Which generation are you asking that question to? Because that makes all the difference in the world, right? Mm. If you're asking it to your generation and younger, 35 ain't a lot. Matter of fact, a number, whatever the number is what the number is.
Right.
There's no, hand wringing around the number, right? Especially if you are going to verbalize it, right? If you're asking my generation and older, like we talked about last week, I don't want to hear nothing about your exes.
Right.
They don't exist. So if you'd offer up a number like 35, you mean there was 35? Okay. Let's assume like there are 35 people that you had intimacy with before me. Mm-hmm. That could be an issue, right? For some people, it's not an issue. For a lot of people, that would be an issue. But even beyond that, okay. So here's where, because we're making light of the number 35, right? If I would imagine if people in my generation actually kept track, which is really a bad thing, but if they actually kept track of journal, they probably have 35 too. Let's be real honest about the situation, right?
Hey, that's had hundreds,
and it's from the married and the unmarried and the married ones, right?
Right.
The ones whose body count went up after they got married. We not even gonna go there. But the issue isn't the number, right? I tell people all the time about relationships, about being with one person for a while. The issue is the effect that number has on whatever relationship you're in. Right. Like that's the problem. Right. Mm-hmm. Let me see if I can explain it another way. If you've ever had owned, used for an extended period of time, a muscle car, it changes the way you look at vehicles, or an electric car. It changes the way you look at vehicles. And inherently and reflexively, you compare every vehicle after that to that vehicle. Right. That's just the very essence of human nature. Right. And that's when you're not trying to be malicious. You're not trying to be discriminatory. It's like you're not trying to be anything. It's just you're comparing this because of the experience that you had. When you're talking about a relationship, you got 35 other experiences to compare this to.
Well, and that's just the number of different people. Not even the act of, so that, you start multiplying that. That's, look, I'll just put it like this. 35 people, if I was in the single category and I was dating somebody and 35, it depends. There's a lot of variables that I'd have to consider, but definitely one of them. Hey, what you want? A pizza? ST test? Sushi?
Wow. No, man. No, I ain't gonna. I mean, I get it. I get it.
It would have to be somewhat, at least at one point during the relationship.
Well, okay. So you would hope that if someone's willing to provide you that information, responsible enough to know the number. First of all, let's be clear about this. Responsible enough to know the number, because there are quite a few people that don't know what their number is.
Right.
Some because they never counted. Some because even if they tried to count, they couldn't, because many of the experiences happen when they couldn't remember them. Right. Right. but someone responsible enough to know what their number is, you would hope is someone that's responsible enough with their sexual health to make sure that they are tested and taken care of, right?
You would hope so.
Yeah, you would assume that. And so, you'd have that conversation, but, I'm hoping that a generation that looks at that number and goes, oh, that's not a big number, is a generation that's responsible enough to make sure that that big number isn't one that, adversely affects their health in their life, right? Because I mean, if that's not going to be a big number to you, then you need to do what's necessary to make sure that it's not a number that kills you.
Right. Oh, for sure.
Right.
Absolutely. I mean, nobody should play with their health. I mean, that's just a PSA for anybody. Like, hey, look, if y'all out there wilding, hey man, every once in a while, at least go get tested or something.
Yeah. So, but I don't believe that. That kind of experience is beneficial to one's future relationships. I think it hinders. Let me put it another way. I'm sure that it hinders one's future relationships, right?
Yes.
And people will disagree with me, and that's fine. You disagree all you want. Life experience of my life experience and from people that I know that it hinders, right? And whether you see it or acknowledge it or not is beside the point, because it does. And so, we're not being prudes here. Like that's not where we are. It's just that from this point in our lives, we get to look back on things that we would have not concerned us when we were younger. And we go, that's probably not the best of things. Or if I were younger, I wouldn't make those mistakes again, or those kinds of decisions again. Even if you don't consider them mistakes, right? There's nothing worse than, dude, okay, so I have a muscle car, right? I have a 21 Charger GT. It doesn't have the Hemi engine in it because Hemis only get 7 miles to the gallon in the city. And all you Hemi drivers are absolutely insanely nuts. I've got the Pentastar, which still is 305 horses. It looks like it's a Hemi. It looks like it's the Hemi one, and it moves from 0 to 60 almost like it's a Scat Pack, right? It's a second off, right? I can still hit 130 or 145 if I really wanted to. Never done it before. Don't plan on doing it, but if I wanted to, I could. It's a muscle car. Anytime I drive any other car, it's just not the same. And as much as I might love my next car, I know that if my next car doesn't have the same kind of muscle car feel and sound, I'm not going to love it as much as I would have if I did not have the car that I currently have, right? Which means that I've got to bridge the gap. It's another thing to overcome in this relationship that I'm going to have with this next car, right? It's the same thing. Like it's one for one, and the old thought process that you want to keep your number low. It was there for a reason. Like, it was born out of wisdom. So
right.
Take it for whatever you want. I mean, I'm not saying I'm perfect. What I am saying though is wisdom will tell you that you kind of want to make sure that that's like 3.5 a year, which because like she's like what?
She's 31.
She's 31. So you count 10 years from 21 to 31, and that's 3.5 a year, which don't sound like much, but good.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it's so, and you touched on this earlier. It's just the fact that for the person who asked that number, well, then again, you offered up that number, so whoever you're getting with next, they already know your number, and that's going to open up conversations already. That no matter how far you get into that relationship, whether it's too early or it's too late, that conversation is going to be had. Insecurities
are an interesting thing to navigate, my friend. An interesting thing.
Well, and then her whole guise during that interview was she wants to always be truthful, and it's like there's a difference between truthful and just blurting things out, just be blurting them out.
Well,
like I get the premise, but you could have saved that one.
If her profile is being bluntly and transparently honest about stuff, then I get it. I also do get that sometimes people that have that way of thinking and way of acting, use it as a defense mechanism, right? Mm-hmm. You can't judge me because I'm going to be very, 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 very honest about this thing. Or you can't shame me because I'm going to be very, very, very honest about this thing.
Right.
And I understand it as a defense mechanism. It still doesn't mean that the thing that you're being honest about wasn't a thing that you could have made a better decision about. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. So, I think, that the revelation could have been had with, whoever in private, and, then that's, I just think
okay. We got to turn because we got to get off of Brittany's back. I'm not making no more money off of her today.